favorites.
Yeah.
Instead, they came away with a 20-17 loss.
Yeah.
And obviously, Mike McCarthy was fired shortly after. Now, offensive coordinator Joe Philbin will step in as the interim coach.
Yeah.
And it's no secret, at least now, that Aaron Rodgers and McCarthy were not on the same page. But former Packer Mark Chimera believes the blame on Aaron should be even more weighed.
Aaron's not going to come out of this looking good. Aaron might be happy, but Aaron, to me, looks like the prima donna basketball player in the NBA that wants his coach fired. And there were rumblings last week, because I listened to a lot of the national media, that were saying that Aaron Rodgers is difficult to coach. Whether that's because he's smart or whatever the case may be. He's not going to come out of this looking, he may be happy, but I don't think he comes out of this looking good. He got his coach fired.
Yeah, Mark Chimera, former Packer, by the way, I think he's right here. I don't think it's a good... I mean, I said this last week, Joey, for the first time in Aaron's career, I drove into work last week, and I listened to local and national shows, and for the first time last week, all week, it was like, yeah, Aaron's 50% of this mess. And that, he was the golden boy our entire sportscasting career.
Oh, yeah.
He's been the golden boy.
Untouchable, he's better than Tom Brady.
But the gloves are off here. I think a lot of people are coming to an opinion, which I had formed years ago, and it was called a hot take, which is, I thought this thing was done after the Remember the Buffalo game? When they played Buffalo and they looked like garbage, and, you know, Aaron came out and just said, hey, I don't do the game plans, man. The coaches do the game plans. Like, okay, you do the game plans too. Like, this thing has been simmering for 2 months.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with everyone that Mike McCarthy was untouchable because he's gotten them to so many playoffs and won so many playoff games and won a Super Bowl. Like, at one point or another, sometimes the rhetoric wears old.
Sure.
And sometimes the voice just becomes stale. And that doesn't mean that Mike McCarthy isn't a great coach.
Right.
Who will get another job and will be successful there. But sometimes the relationship wears thin. And look, at the end of the day, you have to pay Aaron Rodgers. You can't get rid of Aaron Rodgers. So in those situations where something's got to give, the one who can give is going to give. And that's what it is. It's not necessarily all Mike McCarthy's fault. What the problem with Aaron Rodgers is now, it's on you, bro, because everybody knows that this happened because of you. You're the one that has the power here. You're the one that has the say.
Once LeBron ran David Blatt out.
Oh, no, he had to win a championship.
With Ty Lue.
Right.
Like, it's like, okay, Blatt had a winning record. You ran him out. Now, LeBron, you got to make this thing work. You can't keep blaming the coach.
Right, exactly. At one point or another, it has to be you. And now all the pressure is on Aaron Rodgers. Whoever they bring in, it doesn't matter whether they're progressive or they're not. You have to win now because this was on you. So Lamar Jackson's development in the NFL as a passer is a work in progress. He completed 12 of 21 passes for 125 yards against the Falcons, but obviously he did a lot of running too.
Yeah.
He carried the ball 17 times for 75 yards and a touchdown. And after the game, John Harbaugh was asked if Jackson had done enough to remain the Ravens starter.
Done enough? Sure. Oh, absolutely. He's done enough. I mean, he's played great. He's 3-0. He's played well. What way we'll go, what direction we'll go, we'll see. There will be no quarterback controversy in our locker room. Our guys want to win. They know all three guys can win. And whatever way we decide to go, it's only going to be to make our team the strongest it can be. You know, maybe we play them all three. Maybe we play one of them. I mean, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
You know, it's interesting. Dak had a great rookie year. Vince Young, RG3. When you're a runner, when you have it, I think it's very difficult to be a defensive coordinator and you have almost no film on Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Listen, Tebow had some initial success. Running quarterbacks are so different than the rest of the league. You know, I'm sitting watching that game yesterday and Atlanta's guessing. Dak, your first year, you're like, oh, he runs a lot, and with Zeke, and all. Then after about a year and a half, people have film on Dak, and it's like, okay, I think this was Trubisky.
That was the biggest critique of Dak. Anyone who doubted Dak after his first year, that was what everyone kept saying. Wait until they get some film on it.
That's right.
It's going to change, and it looks like it has.
Yeah, and I think in Lamar's case, he's different. Nobody has great film. It's a couple of weeks. You know, I watched, there was a couple of trick plays in here that Baltimore smartly used his ability, and I'm like, Atlanta doesn't know what's going on.
Well, I don't blame Baltimore for using him in this manner, and if it's bringing you success, which it is, they've gone 3-0 with him. They've averaged 28 points and 395 yards per game.
Yep.
which is a big jump over Flacco. And I realize that Flacco has won a Super Bowl, and he is a starting level franchise quarterback. But you have to stick with the hot hand here. I don't like the idea of doing quarterback by committee. That's just not a position
not in the
that
NFL.
you rotate
Never
out in the NFL. Just stick with Lamar. If he falls off, then you put Flacco back in. And I don't. Hopefully the Ravens won't botch this, but we'll see what happens. Finally, Tom Brady has more Super Bowl rings than any other quarterback in league history. Including postseason games, he's the NFL's all-time leading passer. He's also won more games than any quarterback ever. And this season, he had a very unique goal. As we know, he's not a runner. Speaking of Lamar Jackson, he wanted to finish his career with 1,000 rushing yards and a 5-yard gain yesterday against the Vikings. His dream came true, and he played a little coy about it after the game.
I don't know. I'm not going to say the ball. I don't know where it went. But, yeah, it's just, played a lot of football. And obviously I'm not very a scrambler, but I hope I can make a couple plays, running for it. And we made a good third down on that one. And I just give a lot of credit to the offensive line. They blocked their tails off today against a good front. And, I don't want to make too much of a 4 or 5 yard gain. That wasn't really the difference in the game.
He did smile though. Did you notice that?
Knew it. He knew. I feel like he's kind of like how LeBron always knows like what's going on when there's like a record about to happen or something like that. Like he knew when he got it, and he's it's Brady. He's gonna give the credit to the offensive line. Like it's kind of a funny thing to do.
Colin, at the end of the game, he kneeled forward. Did you see that? When he was kneeling the ball, he went forward so he wouldn't lose a rushing yard and go back under 1,000.
That's funny.
I mean, it's just funny because we're showing the combine footage right now. He's just notorious for not being a good runner, and it's so Brady of him not to keep the ball.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need that one.
Yeah. Joey with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Greg Jennings was a multiple-time Pro Bowler, won a ring with a